What you witnessed was footage of people who still use a T-trunk as a bridge to cross over waterways. News First came across these people on day 11 of the Gamma the Door-to-Door campaign. We will have more details later on in the news bulletin, but before that, here's a look at the headlines for tonight.
Gunmen opened fire at a pregnant woman opposite the Lanka prison. Senior DIG Pujija Sundara to head a special operation to crack down on crime in the Western Province. Mahanayaka of the Malwatu chapter comments on rural development. Farmers protest by obstructing traffic in a number of areas.
But before we take a look at our top story for tonight, a reminder to our viewers here at home and across the globe that you can join in the conversation on tonight's bulletin on Twitter by following Newsfirst_EN and using the hashtags featured on each of our stories tonight. On to your top story now, a gunman opened fire at a pregnant woman this evening opposite the Lanka prison. The woman, who was seriously injured, is currently receiving treatment at the National Hospital.
Shots were fired at a woman who was leaving the Lanka prison after visiting an inmate this evening. The woman who was injured was a 23-year-old pregnant woman. Police said that she suffered gunshot wounds to her shoulder and her chest. She had arrived at the Lanka prison this evening to visit a relative who was remanded by the Kegol magistrate. She had come with her elder sister and the wife of the incarcerated relative. When they were leaving the prison, two persons who arrived in a motorbike had stopped them and inquired as to whether they were relatives of an underworld member while taking away their bags. The three women had yelled for help and the gunmen had opened fire at them and fled the scene. A shooting was reported from the Ampegama area in Baddegama at around 10:50 last night. An individual who was travelling in a motorbike on the Ampegama at Kandura road was shot at in two different locations. Police said that two gunmen in a motorbike had carried out the shooting and fled. The injured person was 49-year-old Rajkumar from the Kalupe area in Hikkaduwa. He is currently receiving treatment at the Karapite Teaching Hospital, and the sources said that he suffered 4 gunshot wounds to his back. The injured is a suspect in 2 murders, including the one of a woman, and has 2 cases against him filed at the Balapitiya Magistrates Court. The body of an individual who was gunned down in Madampalla, Katana, was taken to his residence last night. The victim was gunned down by 2 gunmen in a motorbike while en route to his workplace from home last morning. A suspect in the assassination of the late Bharata Lakshman Premachandra Dematagoda Chaminda, who was injured when gunmen fired at a prisons department bus in Dematagoda on Wednesday, is continuing to receive treatment at the National Hospital. Police are yet to make an arrest over the shooting. Yesterday, gunmen shot dead an individual named Harshaya Sasri in Ubesekarapura, Rajagiriya. He was a suspect in a number of crimes, including the murder of former Southern Province Minister Danny Hittetiya.
Minister Lakshman Kiriyala, speaking in Kandy today, commented on the debt and the revenue of the government.
In a press release, parliamentarian Dalla Salha says that over the past 2 months, activities of the underworld had claimed 12 lives. Questioning the conduct of the security forces in such a situation, MP Dalla Salha noted that the joint opposition condemns the silent method followed with regard to the activities of the underworld.
Underworld members are clashing once again. There were shootings that took place in broad daylight even in Colombo. The MPs from the opposition say that the security had been undermined. There is a method that the previous government followed to curb the underworld. Persons connected to the underworld were abducted in white vans and made to disappear for good. Some were arrested as suspects and were shot dead when they were taken to show weapons, citing that they opened fire at the police. The previous government did many illegal things. The underworld must not be allowed to rise again. We will curb the underworld through the legal measures that we have in place in the good governance system.
යහපාලනයේ තියෙන අපේ නීත්‍යානුකූල ක්‍රියාමාර්ග මගින් තමයි පාතාල ලෝකේ අපි මර්ධනය කරන්න ඕනේ.
ඉන්දිකටම රට ඇතුලේ
It appears that the underworld is raising its head once again. This is a seriously bad situation. There is a serious issue on how they acquire weapons. Weapons pertaining to the avant-garde issue were discovered over the recent past. However, the government has failed to conduct an investigation on the legality on the exchange of weapons with avant-garde. Are the weapons pertaining to avant-garde being used in this manner? This needs to be investigated. We urge the government and the executive to establish the rule of law in the country.
Police today announced that it has been decided to implement a special operation under Senior DIG Pujija Sundara in a bid to crack down on serious crimes and drug trafficking. One step is to establishing teams that would enforce the police jurisdiction. One team each will be assigned to the 10 police divisions in the Western Province, and each team will be headed by a police inspector. The primary task of this unit would be to immediately respond to a crime scene where a serious crime had taken place, commence investigations and take measures to apprehend the suspects, all under the direct supervision of the Senior Superintendent of Police in charge of the police division. The Office of the Police Media spokesperson also said that special spot roadblocks and checkpoints will also be in place. There are 102 police stations in the Western Province, and these police stations will operate the spot roadblocks and checkpoints.
The All Ceylon Peasants Federation organised demonstrations in a number of areas today.
This demonstration took place at the Kaduruwela town centre, urging the government to provide the fertiliser subsidy as usual. They also demand for a certified price for paddy. The demonstration, which lasted for an hour, brought traffic to a standstill on the Polonnaruwa-Batticaloa main road.
Sambar Nadu, which were priced at 45 and 50 rupees, have been dropped to 41 rupees and 38 rupees by the 2016 budget. We urge the government to introduce the certified price of 40 rupees and legalize it. Until that is done, we will go ahead with this struggle.
Another group of farmers demonstrated at the Valikamo town centre. We work on an acre of land and have a debt of 45,000 rupees. We cannot sell 1,000 kilograms of paddy for 38,000 rupees. We have debt to the tune of hundreds of thousands. We do not even have jewellery, so we pawn our houses and land. We have no way to repay that. The paddy price must be increased.
We urge the government once again to provide the fertilizer subsidy for 350 rupees for the farmer. We will not allow for the benefits of the farmers to be taken away. When the Department of Agriculture introduced the fertilizer subsidy, according to those documents, the set price of fertilizer was 10,700 rupees. They obtain it for 5,000 rupees. Only 2 bags of fertilizer can be purchased. You said that the fertilizer was not good, and then you say that you do not get it. If money is given before the cultivation, why are you demonstrating? Are you not aware of this? We said that 25,000 rupees will be given per hectare before the cultivation and 50,000 rupees for the 2 hectares. The urea and the TSP that was given by the previous government will be calculated, and the present value for the urea and the TSP will be 2,500 rupees. Why are you against this? Is this because of fear? Are you afraid that you will lose the fertilizer and the money? We made a mistake. We sent the system to the villagers without informing them. We did not make clarifications to the villagers. Today, we have commenced clarifications among the Polonnaruwa agrarian organizations and expand this process across the country.
Well, to keep a close tab on the stories that were mentioned on the news tonight, you can simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. Minister Lakshman Kiriyala, speaking in Kandy today, commented on the debt and the revenue of the government.
President Maithripala Sirisena presided over a special cabinet meeting last evening. Minister Kiriyala said that the country's economy was the main focus of the meeting.
විශේෂ කැබිනට් රැස්වීමේ අපි
During the special cabinet meeting, we discussed the state of the nation which is governed by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, the People's Alliance and the United People's Freedom Alliance over the past 2 decades. In short, the revenue of the government for this year is not enough to repay the debt and the interest obtained by the previous government. They governed the country for 2 decades and left us in a position where we cannot generate revenue to repay even the loan installment and interest. How can we do any other work? How are we to construct roads and schools? We have no capital. Therefore, we will have to obtain it from other nations.
The JVP organised a public meeting in Thalawakele yesterday.
Ranil Wickremesinghe does not have enough courage, though he brags about it. This government is a collective government. Just like Mahinda Rajapaksa, they have kept the ministers in silence by giving them benefits or blackmailing them with the files containing corruption charges, like Mahinda Rajapaksa did. Aren't there ministers with large-scale corruption charges against them among those who have got together with the UNP government? Yes, there are. Is action being taken against them? No. Now Ranil Wickremesinghe has the files. That is true. Mahinda too kept files. The files are there, so they have to keep their mouth shut. Now, wait and see in a few days if Susil Premajayantha and Nimal Siripala de Silva are asked to take the UNP membership. They will do that too, because hereafter the SLFPs will not vote for them.
Well, as we mentioned in the beginning of the news, today marks day 11 of Sri Lanka's largest public service initiative, the Newsfirst Gum at the Door-to-Door campaign.
Newsfirst launched this initiative in a bid to reach out to the unheard and raise their concerns on the national platform. The initiative is supported by the University of Peradeniya. The Newsfirst Gum at the Door-to-Door campaign visited the hidden and unseen villages in the southern province today. A bridge was the primary concern for those living in the upper and lower areas of Kurudana area in Suriwava Hambantota.
What you see across is the Upper Kurudana village. I am in Lower Kurudana. The waterway that flows across these two areas is called Mallara. This tree trunk, used as a bridge, is the only link between the two areas. The people in these areas use this tree trunk to travel across.
These villagers are compelled to cross the waterway using these tree trunks as there is no other alternative.
I have to travel a very long distance to get goods. We cannot carry the goods across. What we need is a proper bridge. If the Siwasa Media Network's door-to-door program can provide us with a solution, you will be blessed in a great way.
The threat of wild elephants were the most serious issues faced by the people living in the Konketiara area. After shedding blood, sweat and tears and working day and night to nourish their cultivations, wild elephants destroy them all in one night. Several paddy fields were destroyed last night as well.
The Department of Wildlife comes and constructs the fence, and within days it is taken down.
My daughter's house is destroyed. She does not have a place to stay. The treetops provide refuge for these locals to save their lives and their cultivations.
Aliya noena maga ini maga. It's a Sinhala saying. It means elephant can't climb this type of a ladder. People in this area use that strategy to prevent their paddy land from wild elephant.
Another group based in the southern province visited the Kapukinissa Mihiduma Vehera Palasa and Meegahachapur areas. The dilapidated bridge leading to the Kapukinissa village was one of the main concerns of the villagers. When Newsfirst reached out the villagers in Meegahachatur area, lives have been gravely affected by the threat of wild elephants. We were able to witness the fate of their cultivations.
This is a tomato cultivation of over 1.5 acres. This cultivator had spent over an year to cultivate his harvest and now has decided to destroy his cultivation. Oh Chandana Mahathir, මොකද්ද මේකට හේතුව?
There is no proper price for the harvest. Therefore, there is no point in continuing this. I am planning to destroy everything and cultivate a different crop. this is simply of no use anymore. I've spent almost 600,000 rupees on this. Around 15 to 20 people work here on a daily basis. At present, the price of a kilogram of tomatoes is sold at 10 to 15 rupees. As I am destroying this, I have to spend an additional 12,000 rupees. As a farmer, what I appeal is that such situation should not be faced by other farmers.
On this Government the Door-to-Door campaign in the Hambantota district, we came across many individuals who face this problem. So we hope the relevant authorities will take immediate actions to help these individuals to overcome this problem.
Villagers lamented that a dysfunctional electric fence aggravates this issue. The Newsfirst Government, the door-to-door campaigning team based in the northern province, visited Thale Mana today. The Divisional Secretariat of Mana and the Rural Development Committee had organized an event to welcome the team. When visiting Pesale, the team came across a group of persons displaced by the war. These people not only lack proper shelter, but have also been deprived of proper infrastructure facilities.
In 2007, the government built the roads and the houses for us. There are only houses, but only 11 houses are inhabitable. The roads are dilapidated. It is difficult to travel during the rainy season.
Although 50 families have been given houses, their conditions are not what was expected. Every household that we visited in the Mana district was similar to this. What you see is just one house. However, in many areas in this district, people live like this. The other teams had sailed to the deep seas of Thale Mana to inquire into the issues faced by the local fishermen.
We're currently in the seas of Thale Mana, which is 30 kilometers off the district of Mana, where the biggest problem faced by the fishing community, which makes up over 90% of Mana's population, is the fact that fishing trawlers from India come in their hundreds, breaching the maritime boundary and take away all the catch of the fishermen.
Yes, Sonali. So as you said, the main issue faced by the Sri Lankan fishermen is that Indian fishermen enter the seas of Sri Lanka, catch all kinds of fish which belong to the Sri Lankan people and leave. So the Sri Lankan fishermen are left with only crabs and small fish. So we have spoken to the fishermen here and they say that it is really hard for them to engage in their fishing activities if this situation persists.
Several hours later, in to see the team reach the Adams Bridge area where people presented their issues. Despite laws being presented to prevent Indian fishermen from poaching in Lankan waters, illegal acts have deprived the local fishermen the opportunity to get a better catch. The Newsfirst Government, the door-to-door campaigning team based in the North Central Province, visited the Attana Kadavala, Diyabeduma, Avitimulana, Bakamuna, Alahara, Sarabima, Nikapitiya and Kegala areas. The Diyabeduma Regional Hospital is the only hospital that is available for the people in the Diyabeduma village to obtain medication. As there is no proper road system that leads to the hospital, the villagers have to face numerous difficulties.
This is the men's ward in the Diyabeduma Regional Hospital. This ward lacks the proper facilities for the patients. These are 2 temporary beds. This raises the question, is this environment suitable for the patients?
Another team visited the Attana Kadavala Yaya 12 and the Yaya 25 villages. Located in the jungles in the area, the team came across this house which has been built on black rocks. The Newsfirst Government, the door-to-door campaign is supported by the University of Peradeniya and will take place until the 18th of March.
Government, the door-to-door, a national public service initiative.
Minister for Regional Development, Field Marshal South Fonseca, called on the Mahanayaka of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, the most venerable Thibbatuave Sri Sumangla Thera. At the meeting, the Mahanayaka had commented on the issues faced by the rural villages.
Before calling on the Mahanayaka, Minister Sarath Fonseca paid homage to the sacred tooth relic. Minister Sarath Fonseca responded to a question posed on the forming of a new political party. 3 years ago, I formed a new party. We formed that party philosophically. What we wanted was to build a single stance in the country. We wanted to send a message to the people. We did not have any other bad intention in our minds. The fact that you mentioned of forming a new party is based on jealousy, rage and greed. I do not see anything ethical in forming a party based on those things. This can be seen as an attempt to regain power because of their greed.
A media briefing was held at the Kanda Oluwaba Sambuddha Jayanti temple in Valley to comment on the Ratupaswala water issue.
They have said that the problems of all the people will be resolved before the 5th of April. But we are not aware what those problems are. But we have a few problems of our own. One of them is the activation of the water supply project covering this area. Not a single house has been given a water supply as yet. The situation has further aggravated because those who should be directed to look into the matter have been set aside. This is where the Rajapaksas went wrong. That is where Basil Rajapaksa went wrong. We praise the good and not just criticize the bad, we drive it away. That is what happened to Mahinda Rajapaksa. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe is aware who was with the people with regard to the water problem in Ratupaswala. Even President Maithripala Sirisena is aware. He held discussions with both the President and the Prime Minister. This is a problem of the people. When they take decisions on a problem faced by us, by discussing it with irrelevant persons, we cannot accept those decisions.
Sajit Premadas, the Minister of Housing and Construction, attended an event in Hambantota today.
The event was held to distribute sewing machines to the women in the area for self-employment. The event was held at the Nikkarama Historic Temple in Hambantota, where 40 sewing machines were presented through the funding of the Urban Settlement Development Authority.
අපේ දැවැන්ත නිවාස විප්ලවය අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. මේ නිවාස විප්ලවය කටින් බදල හිටවීමක් නෙවෙයි. ඇස් දෙකට පෙනෙන.
We will launch our large-scale housing project revolution. This will not be limited to mere words. This is a revolution that will be seen, heard and felt. I would like to state very happily that the houses that were slashed on the people by the previous government will be brought to the footsteps of the people through the leadership of the President and the Prime Minister. I would like to very happily state once again that the current government is committed to provide a house for everyone by the year 2025 under the Samata 7 initiative and will resolve the housing problem of people from villages and the urban areas.
Samata 7 ලබා දෙන්නට අපේ රජය නිරතුරුවම අප වෙනවා කැප වෙනවා කියන එක බොහොම සන්තෝෂෙන් මම ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
The 2016 convocation of the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology took place recently.
Students of the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology and associated international universities were presented with degrees. Manager of the main control room of the MTV-MBC Media Network, Tharanga Silva, was presented with Master of Science in Information Technology.
On to a story that has taken Colombo by storm. Up next is Big Match Fever.
The 82nd Battle of the Saints played between St. Joseph's College Maradana and St. Peter's College Bambalapitiya came to a close this evening after the umpire decided to stop proceedings owing to bad light. At that point, the Peterites only required 7 runs to win. As spectators continued to disrupt proceedings by running onto the grounds, following the game, the umpires called the principals of the two schools and decided to hand St. Peter's College Bambalapitiya with a victory. The match was played at the Pisara Oval in Colombo. The Battle of the Maroons between Ananda College and Nalanda College commenced at the SSC grounds in Colombo. Batting first, Nalanda College posted 197 runs all out. At the end of the day, Ananda College batting in their first essay were 55 runs for the loss of 1 wicket.
Well, that's a wrap of the weekend edition of Primetime News. Remember, to stay ahead, you need to stay close to News First. For that, you simply need to log on to our website, www.newsfirst.lk. I'm Stephanie Lazarus. Take care and good night.